Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. We are built by Sparkies for Sparkies. Our vision is clear: make money, build wealth, be kind. Our mission is deliberate. We help electrical, solar, and aircon business owners generate revenue, drive profits, and control their time. If you would like to hear more about our program, please reach out. I'll chuck the link in the show notes and enjoy the podcast. We always hope it's beneficial for your business. We hope it cuts through noise and helps you understand what's important and what's non-negotiable. Thanks so much for all your support so far. We appreciate you. We love you. Enjoy the podcast. Sparky Coach Pod, Crowe here, part 3 of 5 simple ways to make more money in your electrical business, your aircon business, or your solar business, or your service business. Really, it's anytime you're providing labor and materials, and sometimes just labor, and not much just materials. But if you're in a solar game, an aircon game, the rules. There's probably 70% materials, 30% labor. If you're in electrical, you can flip that. So solar and aircon immediately have a amazing advantage to make more money per hour, or net profit per hour, or gross profit per hour. And the advantage is simply 20% of a higher number is a higher number. For a solar or aircon company to push a 20 grand job, it's probably a 2-day job. They've got a ducted system. They're roughing in some duct in the roof. Pipes are going down 2 stories. Condenser sits on a slab. All of a sudden, it's 20 grand, 15, 20 grand, whatever it is, over 2 days has been tradie, apprentice, handling it. And 20% net profit might land you at 4 grand net profit, whatever it is, right? Now you've got an electrical job. That 20 grand job might be across a week. And you might be rewiring something, and you got tradie, apprentice, you got a commercial job, and everyone's there all week, and it's 70% labor and 5% materials. And so you've got this sort of, you same net profit, but it's over a greater amount of hours. It might be over 120 hours versus the aircon job, which might be over 40 to 50. So just we're going to go through that in my next series after this, which I'm really pumped about, is just teaching on gross profit per hour and net profit per hour. Now, this is really interesting because I would say most people, hear me out here, most people just lack discipline. So the 5 things I'm teaching about now are 5 simple ways to make more money in your electrical business. Let's go through them before we get into point 3. Step 1, weekly revenue exceeds weekly expenditure. Step 2, net profit across your closed jobs you're starting and finishing this week. They are profitable. Step 3, net profit across ongoing jobs. So your ongoing jobs, your jobs with cost centers, the jobs you haven't finished this week, but they extend weeks, months, days, years sometimes. They're on a pathway to be profitable. We're going to go through that today. Step 4 is going to be labor efficiency, which is essentially paid versus allocated hours. Do all your hours have a home? And step 5 is the quality of work hours. So just making sure that what you're doing on-site and off-site, to be honest, is quality, it's good, it's repeatable, and it's profitable. So what I'm saying here, you probably already know. And it's so interesting. This morning I was doing Pilates. If I told you that I do Pilates weekday mornings, 5:15, straight into it. That's what I do. Monday to Friday, no excuses. Unless it's one of my kids' birthdays, I'll probably just make sure I'm up when they're there, but pretty much no excuses. But it's so interesting. This morning, to put reference in context whenever you're listening to this podcast, it's winter. And now I know winter in Byron Bay is very different to winter in other parts of the country. Shout out to the NZ Lords and Tasmanian Lords who are no doubt experiencing a different version of winter to what I am up here. But I sort of rock in this morning, and there's usually 20 people in the class, typically over summer, and there's 4 to 5 people in here. And it's, it might be an off day. People might be having an off day, they've slept in, they've cuddled up, whatever, and it's sweet, that's cool. But typically, all the people, the 20 people, they know what to do. They know if you want to remain fit and healthy and sexy, you got to get into some form of exercise consistently over a long period of time. They know what to do. It's just, they even know how to do it. Sometimes it's not even a matter of like, I know what to do, I just don't know how. It's just a matter of consistently implementing the right thing over a long period of time. And electrical business, solar, aircon business, it's the same concept. It's like you know what to do. You might even know how to do it. Yeah, you could do it better. I will say, I sit with so many people's numbers and I'm still learning so much. This is across every single type of business you can possibly imagine, across different moves of labor materials. And I'm still going, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Because I'm approaching it with curiosity. You don't know everything. You're never going to know everything. And if you just think that you know when it's good enough, it's not good enough. So you might know what to do. You might even know how to do it. But are you consistently doing it week in, week out? So long as you're moving labor and materials through your company, you're going to need to check that labor and materials for profitability, effectiveness, efficiency. You're going to need to check all these things. It's not rocket science. Now, let me pull you back and be like, what are the 5 to 10 things you need to dominate your job? Because most of you are running around going, I'm so busy. And this crazy thing is this system works. Shout out to our new app, Dave, coming out in a week's time. Psycho level. If I had this when I was doing my electrical business, forget about it. Like I would have 10x my profitability over 15 years. Forget about it. And not just profitability, but personal wealth. Like it's psycho what you can achieve when you know where you're heading. It's crazy, but not just know where you're heading when you get actively after things. But it's just crazy to think that you sort of know what to do, and now you've just got to consistently execute it over time. It's literally, it's not that complicated, but the discipline and the learning and the miracle is just in the doing. It's just in the doing. It's just in the consistently. So right now, pull the car over or yell at yourself in the mirror. And you just go, what are the 5 to 10 things that you need to dominate your role? So first and foremost, you might have to define your role. What does your role sort of look like? Because at the moment, you're the chief of everything and you're achieving not much. And that's no way to live, and that's no way to run a business, and that's not a long-term plan. That's not a sustainable plan. Working 60 to 80 hours every single week with no end in sight is not great for anybody. It's not great for your business. It's not great for your relationships. It's not great for your relationship with yourself. It's not great for anything. Anything. It's not great for your hobbies. It's not great. Can you do it? Of course, you can do whatever the hell you want. But is that what you want? So I think a lot of times you've got to define what you want. Once you define what you want, it's like, well, what's my part to play at this stage in my business? And you're like, to dominate my role, far out, I just need 2 days in the office. Cool. Get 2 days in the office. That's like, just work out what you need to dominate. So many of us are like going from phone call to phone call, from crazy to crazy, from weaving in and out of traffic to try and get somewhere. Oh my gosh, there's traffic in the M5, the Sydney guys. There's traffic on the M2. I'm going to be late for work. Oh my gosh, the wholesaler didn't order that part. Oh my gosh, I forgot to order that part. So many of us are just running around like a crazy person and expecting to achieve something effective, efficient, profitable, and it's just not going to happen. A lot of stuff just doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. Good things, normally 95 to 98% of the time, don't happen by accident. And too many of us are expecting a miracle, some yellow brick road leading you to a miracle. And I will shout out to the spiritual people as well. If you're spiritual, you've probably seen some last minute miracles a lot. So it's like you've got this sort of additional anchor of hope, which is sometimes good, and like it can be false hope. If you're just expecting a miracle, it might not happen. It might not. You got to act like it might not happen. You can't just, no one's going to drop money in your letterbox or drop money in your account for nothing. So be really careful in that sense. Got to approach it with wisdom to expect the miracles, but also the miracles sometime in the wisdom. Whoa. Take one thing out. Take that out. All right, here we go. Step 3. This is part 3 or step 3. How do you make more money per week, per month, per job, whatever? You look at your net profit across your ongoing jobs. Now, when I say ongoing jobs, I mean a stage job that is, you're not finished this week. So if you looked at it holistically, You might send a lot of hours to a job this week, but the invoice might not be for 3 or 4 weeks. Or you might send an invoice for works you've completed 2 or 3 weeks ago, specifically if you're on monthly progress claims. Now, I know everyone's got an opinion about this. You got to send invoices weekly. You know what I say, send invoices weekly where possible. Sometimes it's out of your hands and you need to send something every 30 days and the payment terms are 30 days. Very typical across larger commercial projects or larger builders or just larger companies in general. Sometimes you can't just demand what you want. You've just got to slot into the ecosystem of someone else. And that's cool, but just be careful. You can rack up a massive bill in 30 days, and then you're going to get paid in 30 days. So you're going to be carrying all this money for 60 days. I sat with someone yesterday who shall remain nameless. And this is just a bit of an exaggerated story. It's not an exaggerated story, but this is an exaggerated example. It's actually a real-time example. He was just sort of starting out his business and he's like, oh, I've got this opportunity for this $20 million, I can't remember exactly, 370 townhouses or whatever it was. It was just a giant job. And he's like, I just don't know what to do. And I'm like, I think you know what to do. Don't do that job. You can't handle that job. So, sweet, cool. And sometimes you get presented these amazing opportunities, and sometimes it's not always from the trade gods. Sometimes that email that lands in your inbox might not be the trade gods pointing you true north. It might just be a contracts administrator looking for the best price because they're wolves hunting sheep, and you've got to be like, you know what, I've never worked with you, you don't know me, you don't know anything about me, you looked me up on Google, you found me, my percentage of winning this job is very, very, very low, it's a very large waste of my time. For my business to be profitable, effective, efficient, sustainable, this is not the pathway I'm going down, quoting something for someone I don't know that I potentially don't like on a job that I can't handle. Might not be a miracle. The difference between a contracts admin finding you on Google and chasing you up is compare that with someone who's like, oh, hey, you've worked with my friend X Constructions, you've worked with my friend at the commercial thing, we'd love to get you in for a visit. Cool. Now you're hinging it on reputation. The person that has had a personal experience with someone who's had a personal experience of you. This is word of mouth in its nutshell. Do not ever underestimate word of mouth. Your clients are, in fact, your best advertisers. And if you do a good to excellent job for some good to excellent clients, they're going to have some good to excellent friends. And eventually, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually you're going to land yourself in a position where you will get an opportunity to work for those people. Time in the game, time in the market. Time in the game beats timing the game. You might have heard that said before. Time in the market beats timing the market. Everyone's trying to work out, oh, do I buy a house now? Do I buy a commercial property? The reality is, over a 20-year period, it's not irrelevant, but it's more or less irrelevant. Do I start investing now? I haven't invested yet. Yes. The answer is yes. Do I start saving now? Yes. What if it's too late? No, it's not. Start. Just start. Just start. Just start. Just start. It's not too late. You can win this game if you play it correctly. And if you see the concept of everything a bit like a game, so many of us are running around the Monopoly board with no money, scraping past go every single week, scraping past, making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Bam! You lose the game. You go bankrupt in Monopoly. You could go bankrupt in real life. This is real time. This is your life. You need to grab it by the horns. It's not a metaphor. And belt after it. All right, so net profit across ongoing jobs. This is interesting because it's possibly the hardest thing to measure and it's possibly the easiest thing to get wrong. So if you've got a job that goes for 2 years and you're in stage 1 of that job or progress claim 2 of that job, it's going to be not quite like throwing a dart at a dartboard blindfolded, but you're going to always want to check in and make sure that job is on a pathway to profitability. And I want you to treat every stage, every cost center like it's important, like it matters. Now, there's 2 ways to get to a quote. On the larger ones, I think you need to do both. I think you need a price book that defines an end result. So 20 of these, 35 of these, 100 of these, 200 of these times an amount gives us my $200,000 total, $2 million total, whatever that is, it's okay. You need to work out, a price book is very important because a price book will help you establish how you got to that number, but also a price book will be incredibly beneficial if there's any variations, and then you can just pass it on at the original amount the price book was for. So if you just lump summing all this stuff with no idea of how you got there, and the client adds 10 of these and 3 of those and 30 of those, and picture the difference between the client saying, well, how did you come up with this amount? You can charge me whatever you want. Or you can undercharge. Worse for you, overcharge. Better for you, worse for them. so business is like two people have to be winning, right? And that's a relationship in a nutshell. Both people have to feel like that they're winning, or on a pathway holistically both committed to a relationship where they're both winning. So it's interesting. So the price book will help so much with variations. But a lot of times the price book won't help with the handling. If you outsource to an estimator, which I strongly don't agree with, like, unless you're a large scale commercial company, and I don't know. I feel like for the standard resi guys, if you don't know how to quote it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you don't have the time to quote it, the blemish is on you. This is not okay. Like that's not good enough, actually. So, okay, hear me out here. You've got this sort of price book that determines your price. But your price book, if it's 20% north or south, 20% north, lose a relationship, too expensive, open the door for someone else, you might never see that client again. You might frustrate the wrong people. It might be the right job, you just got it too high. And price really matters. I know everyone wants to sit on social media and be like, oh, it's not about your price, it's about your product. And it's like, cool, well, you pay $200,000 for something you can pay $150,000 for. You overpay for that house or that commercial property. You overpay for the car you're driving. Go and overpay for petrol. You don't do it in any other aspect of your life. So why do you think you're a special unicorn in this sense? Price is not everything. It certainly matters. It's not everything, but you know, if you're putting screws in every 500 mil, probably no one cares. like your reputation should carry it forward. Reputation allows you to charge more. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if price does matter. If price doesn't matter, go and pay $20 for a coffee tomorrow. It might be the best coffee in the world. Cool. Well, are you going to consistently buy that coffee over time? It's typically super easy for people in the service game to say that, or people doing $300 to $500 or $700 jobs. But we're not talking about that here. We're talking about ongoing jobs. All right. So you've got this price book that's landed you in a spot. So you need to double check that. We've built this quote checker, basically a labor materials checker. You lay out the stages. How are you going to physically handle the job? I got my temps, undergrounds, site establishment. You might have subboards, switchboards, rough-in, lighting, power, data, cable trays, scissor. It doesn't really matter how you do it. As long as you look at, okay, here's how I'm going to physically handle the job. Here's the materials I'm going to be moving within reason and realm. I've got buffers on each of them. That's put me at a break-even amount. That break-even amount now needs a margin across it. So we're holistically checking our price book against our labor materials checker, or our quote checker, as we like to say here. And does the carpet match the drapes? I've seen it both ways. I've seen people's price book put them in a spot of like, that's a 60 grand job. Cool. Well, when I put it in the quote checker, it says it should be a 40 grand job. I've seen it the other way. Oh, I quoted, my price book's got me to 40 grand. Cool. Well, how you just thought you're going to handle that job under a reasonable or good case scenario just put you at $60,000. You are going to lose $20,000. Or save it if you put a bit of TLC into the quoting process. Quoting, to demystify or debunk the mystery, what is quoting? Quoting is basically front costing a job. I reckon we can do the job for this, and I reckon we can make that. That's it. Yeah, cool. I reckon it's 20 grand, it's 30% net profit. Let's normalize those things. That's normal to go into something and be like, oh yeah, here's my break even, here's my margins, here it is. It's not a pie in the sky guess. It's actual facts. It's labor and materials with a margin on top. Here's what I bought it for, here's what I'm selling it for. Let's normalize front costing. If you're too busy to check to see if the job's going to be profitable, you are in fact just too busy. Now, why am I so passionate? Why am I yelling? Why is this guy yelling at me? Why is he yelling at me? I've seen too many people come into our program on psycho payment plans, doing psycho jobs for psycho people that they can't handle, can't manage, don't have the cash flow, and they land themselves in a position in 1 to 2 years' time, and their business is on the line, and their house is on the line, and they're like, what the hell have I just done for the past 2 years? I'll tell you what he did. I'll tell you what he did. I'll tell you what he did. It's not woe is me. It's you put yourself in that position. So the goal when you're quoting, you're always pleasing two people. You're pleasing the current you who wants to work. You want to please people. You need to work for your staff members. You want to build relationships. You want the job because it's good on the website, good in the resume. You want to, I'm going to make some money off this job. Cool, all good, all good, all good. You got to please that person, and you got to please the person in 18 months or 2 years who's got to live with the results or the ramification of. And you have to hold those two in tension. It's the same with your exercising. If you want to be fit, sexy, healthy in 2 years' time, guess what? You might have to start something today. You might have to start eating better. Might have to start going somewhere. If you want to be profitable in 2 years' time, you have to start sowing the seeds today. Sow the seeds of profitability. And the hardest thing to measure is an ongoing job. The hardest thing. Make absolutely no mistake. So this is really interesting. So I'm a big fan of price books. And I'm a big fan of labor materials. Let's face it, some things just can't be price booked. If you're in a commercial place that needs a whole bunch of interesting stuff done or bespoke stuff done, you're probably going to quote that in a different fashion than you would typical cookie cutter, 32-foot scissor, 17 PowerPoints, 20 data points, 2 subboards kind of stuff. There is a rhyme and a reason to how to quote, and experience tells you that I know how to handle this job. I've done this job before. I know what the break even was. I know what a typical profitability, what a profit margin is. Here's the price. And if you've got a good to excellent relationship with these people giving you ongoing work, might be a builder, might be a school, might be a commercial, might be a factory, might be a business. That's the sickest kind of work. It's the best kind of work. People giving you good jobs at good margins. You don't have to go and hustle anymore. There's no cold calling. Cold calling sucks. If you love it, let me know. If you actually love it, let me know. But I'm thinking most of us don't want to hassle with that. Most of us probably don't even want to hassle to advertising. When you advertise, you're putting out to the 5% of people that may or may not buy your product now. There's nothing wrong with cold calling. There's nothing wrong with advertising. But if you can achieve a low or zero cost per job, so this job costs me nothing to get because I've got an ongoing relationship, this is amazing. This is a good time. It's nice to be here. That's what we want. Okay, so in this, think of the line items. Across a quote of an ongoing job, what are your sort of line items? If you're looking at it from a plan view, from the top down, what are your line items? So you always start with revenue. And when I say revenue, the concept is, did I get the original price right? Did I miss any variations? That's it. So did I collect all the money that I should have? Was my original price correct or incorrect? And then did I capture variations? This is very interesting because you can get your price correct, and we're going to talk next about handling. You can get your price correct, but you might not handle it correct. You might have got your original price correct, but you wimped out on charging variations. You were too late on variations, all this kind of stuff. Now, I haven't got to this point, but I really want to highlight cost plus jobs, so hourly rate jobs are absolutely incredible, but they have to hit 20 to 25% net profit, and your invoices have to be sent weekly. So a cost plus ongoing job, I would say send your invoices Monday from the week before or Friday afternoon from that week. You have to be hitting 20 to 25% net profit. And then I would keep a separate log of how much that job's cost you. So if you've got a cost plus high-end residential job, and it goes for a year, and you've got staff members there for the whole 52 weeks, I would send 52 invoices. Make no mistake, 52 invoices, and your goal is 20 to 25% net profit across that invoice. Now, what you also know with Cost Plus is it's also paid learning. At the end of the 52 weeks, you need to know how many hours went through that job, what the ratio was between tradie apprentices, how much materials, and what the total job cost. Because Cost Plus is essentially paid learning. It's paid learning. If you've got a high-end resi or a commercial job that goes for an extended period of time and it's hourly rate, at the end of it, you'll have a total figure. And if you know there was 20 to 25% net profit on that, like that's on top of your market wage, if you know that, now when the next one comes to you, you'll be like, I know this. I've been here before. I've done one similar. It was 200 grand. It was 300 grand. It was 50 grand. It was 20 grand. Let's go. So cost plus is paid learning. So I would treat that as a bit of a different basket. Every invoice must be sent every single week, typical to a closed job, but it must be measured holistically as well. And you have to know where you're at. Why I say that is because I talked about what is the revenue instead of to get the original quote correct and variations. So I had a couple of situations, or one major situation, and I was pretty established in business at this point. We were doing this really high-end residential job. It's kind of impossible to do on a quote because the builder didn't really know exactly what they wanted, lots of off-form stuff, and it was a really beautiful job. So I had a good relationship with this person. And anyway, so what happened was every time, originally I asked, like, can we get a cost estimate? I said, yes, sweet. It's added everything up, done this before. It's about 100 grand, right? So I think it was about 120 grand plus super, sorry, not plus super, plus the G. And then on top of that was home automation and anything additional that was added. So as we're rolling through the job, you know what clients are like. Oh, I got this steam room that's going in. Oh, I've got these blinds that need to be controlled for the home automation. So it was interesting. And I just kept a tally. And I think if you're doing anything cost plus, you should always keep a tally. And I was keeping this tally, and I was looking at it going, okay, sweet, I've got that extra, that extra, that extra, that extra, that extra. I can probably charge for this. Probably just going to let that one slide or whatever. Just a big list of everything that we've done that was done additional. And anyway, so it pushed later in the job, and I was sending these sort of updates. So it was pushed later in the job, and the person pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you're going over budget." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like the scope has changed. The goalposts have moved." And so I was able to send him, "Hey, look at this. I'll send you this." So I sent him. There was about probably 60, 65 items. One of those line items was supply and install of 74, you heard that right, 74 conduits in the deck and installation of cables only, automation. Shout out to Tommy from Rylac who handled that job. We're not handling the automation side, but cabling for blinds, including termination. At 74. You do the math on that when you're on the deck and you're roughing it in and you're fitting the blind cable off. It's expensive. So that one line item might have been $30,000 to $35,000 of variations. So the coolest thing was in that situation, I was able to go, yeah, sweet, here's the stuff I've done over. And oh, cool, now I get it. I understand. I've actually sent this to you in the emails the whole way through. Cool, now I understand. So I just sat with someone last week who shall remain nameless. And they were basically, it's actually really interesting that they had a $65,000 quote. I know this guy listens to the pod, so it's like we will not name names. So 65 grand quote, and he had a few varies that were added. And he was calling me throughout the process. I was like, you need to get the variation bill in, variation bill in, variation bill in. And yeah, I'll do it at the end. And it's amazing how busy, and I say that like Dr. Evil Laser, it's amazing how busy you can get in these situations. And I reckon if you really pinned it back, you'd probably find some form of self-sabotage or the procrastination that's rooted from a deep, like, heart issue that I was always going to fail. Yeah. Oh, they didn't pay me variations. I was always going to fail. I reckon you probably find every or most issue back to some kind of limiting self-belief. And I don't know how airy-fairy that sounds to you, but I would challenge you on really going there on this stuff. If you can get better, because you are an asset. If you can get better, no doubt the business gets better. If you can improve your value, your self-value, your self-worth, your understanding of self, the why do you do certain things? Why do you act like that? Why do you feel the need to talk too much? Why do you feel the need not to speak up? Why do you feel the need to self-sabotage? Why do you feel the need to control that when it's sort of out of your control? Why did you feel the need to make that additional phone call when you didn't really need to get involved at that point? Why did you feel the need to do this? If you can work yourself out, your business will thank you for it. Your relationships will thank you for it. It's huge. It's huge. Anyway, so I sat with him and we were just chatting, and I was like, let's get an hour. And part of what we do in our service at Sparky Coach, we always have what we call emergency help. We're always available if someone needs us. So I was like, let's get an hour. We sat down and we started going through the variations top to bottom, and we added them up, and it was about 30 grand. Of variations. So I've got a 65 grand original quote, and then you've got 30 grand of variations. And I'm like, is the client expecting $30,000 of variations? And he was like, I don't know. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we've probably all been in a similar situation. I don't know. And no doubt, the pressure of losing sleep, I got to have that conversation. I'm angry at them, but I'm also angry at myself. You can take out your anger in so many ways. And if you picture anger as just sadness personified. So if you're ever angry at someone, like especially a client, you're probably sad somewhere in there. So if you can work that out, if you can be like, oh my gosh, I'm so angry at that client, I've got 30 grand of variations. And if you peeled it back, it's like, you know what? I'm just disappointed I didn't get this email out earlier. I'm just genuinely, I'm really frustrated at myself. If you can work yourself out, you can improve. And then the next time this happens, you'll be like, I've been here before. I know that way sucks. I put off a hard conversation. It only got harder. So I'm going to have the hard conversation right now when it's the easiest. So sat with him. We put pen to paper. We put everything in there. And we basically, I was like, look, you have to work out. You have to write everything you've done. You have to compare it back to the original quote of your price book to be like, hey, this is the same pricing I came up with in the existing quote. Same. It's just now, like, it's just the same pricing structure. It's just 30 grand. And we put together a really well-worded email, had a really good conversation, because I feel like variation conversations of that seriousness, they should be a phone call or go to see them. It's like, hey, I've got the various list. There's 75 items. It's totaling 30 grand. Have a read through. It should read through good. Is that going to be okay? You really got to, if you're on the back foot, you're probably on the back foot. But always people need to, if you picture making a phone call before anyone opens a quote or an invoice, they can be like, hey, I've done this. It's 30 grand, it's 20 grand, it's 100 grand, whatever. It'll read through well, give me a call. Now, when they open the quote, they're not just scrolling bottom right, 30 grand, you're a dickhead, 100 grand, ah. Now they can approach it with, oh, cool, let me read it. Now I've got my head in scope land. So you always want to be making those additional phone calls. You'll find your conversion rate just gets better. And it's not just, converting the variations as such, but just good communication goes a long way. So anyway, lucky for this person, the client was like, yeah, I get it, all good. But I want to challenge you where you're at right now. Don't let anything get to that position. It should never get to that point. It should never get to that point. You might get away with one or two, and I would argue that getting away with one or two of these, like a late invoice, a late variations, and having the client pay, that's actually bad, because it'll basically allow you to do it in the future. Some of you, and I say this, hear me out, some of you need to get ripped off so you understand the importance of communication. I really pray and I hope that's not you, but some of you need to. And I want that to hit home and be like, okay, I'm not gonna let that happen to me. Like the stuff you belittle, the amounts you belittle, oh, that's just 10 grand, that's just 20 grand. That's a family holiday. That's 10 grand off your mortgage. That's 10 grand into your financial future. That's 15 surfboards. However you want to articulate that. Like that's huge. Don't belittle $500, $1,000, 10 grand, 20 grand, all this kind of stuff. Like I hope that you don't have to go through a bad situation to know that that's a bad situation. And wisdom applies the learnings from other people and what you can see yourself and be like, you know what, I'm not going to walk down that path. I'm not going to let it get to that point, right? To quote Evermore, you don't need a broken heart to know a heart can be broken. You don't need to see someone lose money, or you don't need to lose money yourself to know that you can lose money. You don't need to do that. So change your ways. All right, we didn't get through as much as I thought today. I'm going to belt it out on the next one. Still net profit across ongoing jobs. Like I said, this is the biggest one to get through. This is huge. This is going to make or break you. And most of the people doing excellent stuff have ongoing clients giving them ongoing work. So you're going to want to nail this. So stay tuned for part 2 coming up soon on how to make more money per job or per week or per month or in your electrical business, in your solar, in your aircon. For step 3, part 2 coming next. See you soon. That's a wrap on another episode of the Sparky Coach podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. It would mean a lot to us if you could like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify and leave a comment if you think that pleases the electrical gods. And we hope this episode and all our episodes propel you in your trade God ordained destiny of making money building wealth, and being kind. Thanks so much for all your support. See you guys soon.